Hello friends. Hello friends. Today we will review and read Mindset, the new psychology of success book. Let's start. Introduction. One day my students sat me down and ordered me to write this book. They wanted people to be able to use our work to make their lives better. It was something I would wanted to do for a long time, but it became my number one priority. My work is part of a tradition in psychology that shows the power of people's beliefs. These may be beliefs we are aware of or unaware of, but they strongly affect what we want and whether we succeed in getting it. This tradition also shows how changing people's beliefs, even the simplest beliefs, can have profound effects. In this book, you will learn how a simple belief about yourself, a belief we discovered in our research, guides a large part of your life. In fact, it permeates every part of your life. Much of what you think of as your personality actually grows out of its mindset. Much of what may be preventing you from fulfilling your potential grows out of it. No book has ever explained this mindset and shows people how to make use of it in their lives. You will suddenly understand the creeds in the science and arts, in sports and in business, and the world and the would have beens. You will understand your mate, your boss, your friends, your kids. You will see how to unleash your potential and your children's. It is my privilege to share my findings with you besides accounts of people from my research. I would I have I have filed each chapter with stories both ripped from the headlines and based on my own lives and experience so you can see the mindset in action. In most cases, names and personal information have been changed to preserve anonymity. In some cases, several people have been condensed into one to make a clear point. A number of sections are recreated from memory and I have rendered them to the best of my ability. At the end of each chapter and throughout the last chapter, I show you ways to apply the lessons, way to recognize the mindset that is guiding your life, to understand how it works and to change it if you wish. A little note about grammar. I know it and love it, but I have not always followed it in this book. I start a sentence with ands and words. I end sentence with prepositions. I use the plural thing. I use the plural thing in context that require the singular he or she. I have done this for informity and immediacy, and I hope that the sticker will forgive me. I would like to take this chance to thank all the people who made my research and this book possible. My students have made my research career a complete joy. I hope they have learned as much from me as I have learned from them. I would also like to thank the organizations that supported our research: the William T. Grant Foundation, the National Science Foundation, the Department of Education, the National Institute of Mental Health, the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, and the Spencer Foundation. The people at Random House have been the most encouraging team I would wish for. Webster Jans, Daniel Menaker, Tom Perry, and most of all, Caroline Sutton, my editor. Your excitement about my book and your great suggestions have made all the difference. I thank my super agent, Kils Anderson, as well as Heidi Grant, for putting me in touch with him. Thank to all the people who gave me input and feedback, but a special thanks to Polly Solman, Richard Drake, and Marion Passing-Keen for their extensive and insightful comments. Finally, I thank my husband David for the love and enthusiasm and that gave my life an extra dimension. His support throughout this project was extraordinary. My work has been about growth and it has helped foster my own growth. It is my wish that it will do the same for you. Chapter 1, The Mindsets. When I was a young researcher, just starting out, something happened that changed my life. I was obsessed with understanding how people cope with failures, and I decided to study it. Why? Watching how students grapple with hard problems. So I brought children one at a time to room in their school, made them comfortable, and then give them a series of puzzles to solve. The first ones were fairly easy, but the next ones were hard. As the students grunted, perspired, and tolerated, I watched their strategies and probed what they were thinking and feeling. I expected difference among children in how they coped with the difficulty, but I saw something I never expected. Confronted with the hard puzzles, one 10-year-old boy pulled up his hair, rubbed his hands together, smacked his lips, and cried out, I love a challenge. Another, sweating away on these puzzles, looked up with a pleased expression and said with authority, You know, I was hoping this would be informative. What's wrong with them? I wondered. I always thought you coped with failure or you did not cope with failure. I never thought anyone loved failure. Were these alien children or were they on to something? Everyone has a role model, someone who pointed the way at a critical moment in their lives. These children were my role models. They obviously knew something I did not, and I was determined to figure it out, to understand the kind of mindset that could turn a failure into a gift. What they did know, they knew the human qualities such as intellectual skills could be cultivated through efforts, and what they were doing, getting smarter? No, only were not they discouraged by failure and did not even think they were failing. They thought they were learning. I, on the other hand, thought human qualities were carved in stone. You were smart or you were not, and failure meant you were not. It was that simple. If you could arrange success and avoid failures at all costs, you could stay smart. Struggles, mistakes, perseverance were just not part of these pictures. Whether human qualities are things that can be cultivated or things that are carved in stone is an old issue. What these beliefs mean for you is a new one. What are the consequences of thinking that your intelligence or personality is something you can develop as opposed to something that it is a fixed, deep seated trait? Let's first look in the age old, fiercely waged debate about human nature and then return to the question of what these beliefs means for you. Why do people differ? Since the dawn of time, people have thought differently, acted differently, and feared differently from each other. It was guaranteed that someone would ask the question of why people differed. Why? Some people are smarter or more moral, and whether there was something that made them permanently different. Experts lined up, on both sides. Some claimed that there was a strong physical basis for this difference, making them unavoidable and unalterable. Through the ages, these alleged physical differences have included bumps on skulls, the size and shape of a skull, and today genes. Others pointed to the strong difference in people's background, experience, training, or ways of learning. It may surprise you to know that a big champion of this view was Alfred Bent. The inventor of the IQ test. Was not the IQ test meant to summarize children's unchangeable intelligence? In fact, no. Bint, a Frenchman working in Paris in the early 20th century, designed this test to identify children who were not profiting from the Paris public school so that new educational program could be designed to get them back on track without denying individual differences in children's intellects. He believed that education and practice could bring about fundamental changes in intelligence. Here is a quote from one of his major books, Modern Ideas About Children, in which he summarized his work with hundreds of children with learning difficulties. A few modern philosophers asserts that an individual's intelligence is a fixed quantity, a quantity which cannot be increased. We must protest and read against this spiritual pessimism. With practice, training, and above all, method, we manage to increase our attention, our memory, our judgment, and literally to become more intelligent than we were before. Who's right? Today, most experts agree that it is not either or, it's not nature or nurture, genus or environment from conception on. There is a constant give and take between the two. In fact, as Gilbert Gottlieb, an eminent neuroscientist, put it, not only do genus and environment cooperation as we develop, but genus require input from the environment to work properly. At the same time, scientists are learning that people have more capacity for lifelong learning and brain development than they ever thought. Of course, each person has a unique genetic and endowment. People may smart, people may start with different temperaments and different aptitudes, but it is clear that experience, training, and personal effort take them the rest of the way. Robert Sternberg, the present-day guru of intelligence, writes that the major factor in whether people achieve expertise is not some fixed prior ability, but purposeful engagement, or as his forerunner Wynette recognized it, not always the people who start out the smartest who end up the smartest. What does all this means for you? The two mindsets. It is one thing to have pundits expounding their opinion about scientific issues. It is another thing to understand how these views apply to you. For 20 years, my research has shown that the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. It can determine whether you become the person you want to be and whether you accomplish the things you value. How does this happen? How can a simple belief that have the power to transform your psychology and as a result your life? Believing that your qualities are carved in a stone. The fixed mindset creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. If you have only a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well, think you would better prove that you have a healthy dose of them. It simply would not do to look or feel deficient in these most basic characteristics. Some of us are trained in this mindset from an early age. Even as a child, I was focused on being smart, but the mindset was really stamped in by Mrs. Wilson, my sixth grade teacher. Unlike Alfred Binet, she believed that people's IQ scores told the whole story of who they are. They were We were seated around the room in IQ order, and only the highest IQ students could to be trusted to carry the flag, clap the erasers, or take a note to the principal. Aside from the daily stomaches she provoked with her judgmental stance, she was creating a mindset in which everyone in the class had one consuming goal: look smart, don't look dumb. Who cared about or enjoyed learning when our whole being was at stake every time she gave us a test or called on us in class? I have seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves in the classrooms, in their careers, and in their relationships. Every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality, or character. Every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smarter or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? But does not our society value intelligence, personality, and character? Is not it normal to want these traits? Yes, but there is another mindset in which these traits are not simply a hand you are dealt and have to live with, always trying to convince yourself and others that you have a royal flush when you are secretly worried. It's pair of tens. In the mindset, the hand you are dealt is just the starting point for development. This growth mindset is based on belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts. Although people may differ in every which way in their initial talent and aptitudes, interests, or temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Do people with this mindset believe that anyone can be anything? That anyone with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No, but they believe that a person's true potential is unknown, that it is impossible to foresee what can be accomplished with years of patience, toil, and training. Did you know that Drawin and Tolstoy were considered ordinary children? That Wayne Hogan, one of the greatest golfers of all times, was completely uncoordinated and graceless as a child? That the photographer Shinji Sherman, who has been on virtually every list of the most important artists of the 20th century, failed her first photography course? That Geraldine Impey's, one of our greatest actresses, was advised to give it up for lack of talent. You can see how the belief that cherished qualities can be developed creates a passion for learning. Why waste time proving over and over how great you are when you could be getting better? Why hide deficiencies instead of overcoming them? Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. Why hide deficiencies instead of overcoming them. Why look for friends or parents or partners who will just soar up your self esteem instead of ones who will also challenge you to grow? And why seek out the tried and true instead of experience that will stretch you? The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it is not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive during some of the most challenging times in their lives. A view from the two mindsets to give you a better sense of how two mindsets work. Imagine as vividly as you can that you are a young adult having a really bad day. One day, you go to a class that is really important to you and that you like a lot. The professor returns the midterm papers to the class. You got a C plus. You are very disappointed. That evening, on the way back to your home, you find that you have gone a parking ticket. Being really frustrated, you call your best friend to share your experience, but are sort of brushed off. What would you think? What would you feel? What would you do? When I asked people with a fixed mindset, this is what they said. Feel I would feel like a reject. I am total failure. I am idiot. I am a loser. I would worthless and dumb. Everyone's better than me. I am slim. In other words, they would see what happened as a direct measures of their competence and worth. This is what they would think about their lives. In life, my life is pitiful. I have no life. Somebody upstairs does not like me. The world is out to get me. Someone is out to destroy me. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. Life is unfair and all efforts are useless. Life stinks. I am stupid. Nothing good ever happens to me. I am the most unlucky person on this earth. Excuse me, was there death and destruction? Or just a grade, a ticket, and a bad phone call? Are these just people with low self esteem or card carrying pessimists? No. When they are not coping with failure, they feel just as worthy and optimistic and bright and attractive as people with the grow mindsets. So, how would they cope? I would not bother to put so much time and effort into doing well in anything. In other words, don't let anyone measures you again. Do nothing. Stay in bed, get drunk, eat, yell at someone if I get a chance to eat chocolate, listen to music and pout. Go into my closest and sit there, pick a fight with somebody, cry, break something. What is there to do? What is there to do? When I wrote this vignette, I intentionally made up the grade a C plus, not an F. It was a midterm rather than a final. It was a parking ticket, not a car wreck. They were sort of brushed off, not rejected outright. Nothing catastrophic or irreversible happened. Yet, from this raw material, the fixed mindset created the feelings of utter failure and paralysis. When I gave people with the growth mindset the same vision, here is what they said. They would think I need to try harder in class, be more careful when parking the car, and wonder if my friend had a bad day. The C plus would tell me that I had I would have to work a lot harder in the class, but I have the rest of the semester to pull up my grade. There were many more like things this, but I think you get the idea. Now, how would the cope directly? I would start thinking about studying harder or studying in a different way for my next test in that class. I would pay the ticket and I would work things out with my best friend the next time we speak. I would look at what was wrong on my exam, resolve to do better, pay my parking ticket, and call my friend to tell her I was upset the day before. Work hard on my next paper, speak to the teacher, be more careful where I park or contest the ticket and find out what's wrong with my friend. You don't have to have one mindset or other to be upset. Who would not be? Things like a poor grade or a rebuff from a friend or loved one. These are not fun events. No one was smacking their lips with relish. Yet, those people with the growth mindset were not labeling themselves and throwing up their hands, though they get even though they felt distressed, they were ready to take the risks, confront the challenges, and keep working at them. So, what's new? Is this such a novel idea? We have lost of saying that stress the importance of risk and the power of persistence, such as nothing ventured, nothing gained, and if at first you don't succeed, try again. Or Rome was not built in a day. By the way, I was delighted to learn that the Italians have the same expression. What is truly amazing is that people with the fixed mindset would not agree. For them, it is nothing ventured, nothing lost. If at first you would you, if at first you don't succeed, you probably don't have the ability. Nice point. If at first you don't succeed, you probably don't have the ability. If Rome was not built in a day, maybe it was not meant to be. In other words, risk and efforts are two things that might reveal your inadequacies and so that you were not up to the task. In fact, it's startling to see the degree to which people with a fixed mindset do not believe in effort. What's also new is that people's idea about risk and efforts grow out of their more basic mindset. It is not just that some people happen to recognize the value of challenging themselves and the importance of effort. Our research has shown that this comes directly from the growth mindset. When we teach people the growth mindset, what is focus on development, these ideas about challenges and efforts follow. Similarly, it is not just that some people happen to dislike challenge and efforts. When we temporarily put people in a fixed mindset with its focus on permanent traits, they quickly fear challenges and devalue efforts. We often see books with titles like The 10 Secrets of the World's Most Successful People crowding the shelves of bookstores. And these books may give many useful tips, but they are usually a list of unconnected pointers like take more risk or believe in yourself, while you are left admiring people who can do that. It's never clear how the things fit together or how you could ever become what that way. So you are inspired for a few days, but basically the world's most successful people still have their secrets. Instead, as you begin to understand the fixed and growth mindset, you will see exactly how one thing leads to another. How a belief that your qualities are carved in stone leads to a host of thoughts and actions, and how a belief that your qualities can be cultivated leads to a host of different thoughts and actions, taking you down an entirely different roads. It is what we psychologists called an experience. Not only have I seen this in my research when we teach people a new mindset, but I get letters all the time from people who have read my work. They recognize themselves. As I read your article, I literally found myself saying over and over again, "This is me, this is me." They see the connections. Your article completely blew me away. I felt I had discovered the secret of the universe. They feel their mindsets resonating. I can certainly report a kind of personal revolution happening in my own thinking, and this is an existing feeling. And they can put this new thinking into practice for themselves and others. Your work has allowed me to transform my work with children and see education through a different lens, or I just wanted to let you what an impact on a personal and practice level your outstanding research has had for hundreds of students. Self insight. Nurturing. Who has accurate views of their assets and limitations? Well, maybe the people with the growth mindset don't think they are Einstein or Beethoven, but are not they more likely to have inflated views of their abilities and pride for things they are not capable of? In fact, a study shows that people are terrible at estimating their abilities. Recently, we set out to see who is most likely to do this. Sure, we found that people greatly misestimate their performance and their ability, but it was those with the fixed mindset who accounted for almost all the inaccuracy. The people with the growth mindset were amazingly accurate. When you think about it, this makes sense. If, like those with the growth mindsets, you believe you can develop yourself, then you are open to accurate information and about your current abilities, even if it's unflattering. What's more, if you are oriented toward learning as they are, you need accurate information about your current abilities in order to learn effectively. However, if everything is either good news or bad news about your precious traits, as it is with fixed mindset people, distortion almost inevitably enters the pictures. Some outcomes are magnified, others are explained away, and before you know it, you don't know about yourself at all. Howard Gardner, in this book, Extraordinary Minds, concluded that exceptional individuals have a special talent for identifying their own strength and weakness. It is interesting that those with the growth mindset seem to have that talent. What's in store? The other thing exceptional people seem to have is a special talent for converting life's setbacks into future succeed. Creativity researchers concur. In poll of 143 creativity researchers, there was wide agreement about the number one ingredient in creative achievements, and it was exactly the kind of perseverance and resilience produced by the growth mindset. You may be asking again, how can one believe lead to all hit this? The love of challenges, believe in efforts, resilience in the face of setbacks, and greater, more creative success. In the chapter that follow, you will see exactly how this happens, how the mindsets change, what people strive and for what they see as success, how they change the definition, significance, and impact of failure, and how they change the deepest meaning of efforts. You will see how these mindsets plays out in school, in sport, in the workplace, and in relationships. You will see where they come from and how they can be changed. Grow your mindset. Which mindset do you have? Answer these questions about intelligence. Read each statement and decide whether you mostly agree with or disagree with it. First question. Our intelligence is something very basic about that you can't change very much. Second question. You can learn new things, but you cannot really change how intelligent you are. Third question. No matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. Fourth question. You can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Questions 1 and 2 are the fixed mindset questions. Question 3 and 4 reflect the growth mindset. Which mindset did you agree with more? You can be a mixture, but most people lean forward one or other. You also have beliefs about other abilities. You could substitute artist's talent, sports ability, or business skill or intelligence, right? It's not only your abilities, it's your personal qualities too. Look at the look at these statements about personality and character and decide whether you mostly agree or mostly disagree with each one. First, you are a certain kind of person and there is no there is not much that can be done to really change it. Second, no matter what kind of persons you are, you can always change substantially. Third, you can do things differently, but the important parts of who you are can't really be changed. Fourth, you can always change basic things about the kind of persons you are. Here, question 1 and 3 are the fixed mindset questions, and question 2 and 4 reflects the growth mindset. Which did you agree with more? Did it differ from your intelligence mindset? It can. Your intelligence mindset comes into play when situations involve mental ability. Your your personality mindset comes into play in situations that involve your personal qualities. For example, how dependable, cooperative, caring, or socially skilled you are. The mixed mindset makes you concerned with how you will judge. The growth mindset makes you concerned with improving. Here are some more ways to think about mindsets. Think about someone you know who is steeped in the fixed mindset. Think about how they are always trying to improve themselves and how they are super insensitive about being wrong or making mistakes. Did you ever wonder why they were this way? Are you this way? Now you can begin to understand why. Think about someone you know who is skilled in the growth mindset. Someone who understands that important qualities can be cultivated. Think about the some ways you might like to change or stretch yourself. Okay, now imagine you have decided to learn a new language and you have signed up for a class. A few sessions into the course, the instructor calls you to the front of the room and starts throwing questions at you one after another. Put yourself in a fixed mindset. Your ability is on the line. Can you feel everyone's eye on you? Uh, can you see the instructor's face evaluating you? Feel the tension. Feel the tension. Feel your ego crystal and waver. What else are you thinking and feeling? Now put yourself in a growth mindset. You are a novice. That's why you are here. You are here to learn. The teacher is a resource for learning. Feel the tension leaves you. Feel your mind open up. The message is you can change your mindset. This is the end of chapter 1. In conclusion, authors want to say that you need to see the both side of a coin. In first view, if teachers call and ask one after another questions, it is something that you can feel inheritance. But on the other hand, it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity to learn. It is an opportunity to develop self-confidence. It is an opportunity in which you learn about the public speaking. You know, you will get the experience, and experience has its own value. Thanks. We will meet in next video with the chapter 2 inside the mindsets. Okay, bye.